That night, Brother Samuel was attacked. He told me the next morning when I visited his home. His living room lamp was smashed and his arm was wrapped in bandages.
Daniel, he came here, mask over his face, but I know it was him. His voice, his build, his smell of expensive cologne. He had a knife. He said if I kept talking, I'd meet God sooner than expected.
Did you call the police?
I tried, but when I mentioned it at church, they told me to hush. Said we can't destroy the testimony of our ministry.
I felt sick. The church, our own family, wanted to cover it up. Protecting the pastor was more important than protecting the sheep. Weeks later, another man, Brother Elijah, confided in me.
Daniel, he followed me home. Same mask. Tried to break in with a knife. I barely scared him off. I swear it's him. But when I told the deacons, they said, "Don't slander God's anointed."
The fear spread, but the silence was worse. Nobody wanted to believe their beloved pastor could be a monster. I started watching him closely. And then came the final straw. My name is Daniel, and I grew up in the church. I wasn't perfect, but I loved God with all my heart. Sundays were sacred to me. The hymns, the prayers, the smell of incense filling the sanctuary, the stained glass windows catching the morning sun. For years, I thought our pastor, Father Raymond, was a man of God. He was charismatic, powerful with words, and knew how to make the congregation hang on his every sermon. But as I got older, I started noticing cracks in his holy facade. The first time it hit me, I was 16. After service, while cleaning up the youth hall, I overheard him on the phone.
"Make sure the champagne is cold, and don't you dare let those dancers know I'm a priest. Cash only, no paper trail."
My heart nearly stopped. Dancers, champagne. This wasn't the language of holiness. It was the language of indulgence. I wanted to believe I misheard, but that seed of doubt grew. Over the months, I noticed more. One evening, I saw him slip out of church with a Gucci bag, hopping into a sleek black BMW. A pastor with a BMW? He always preached about sacrificing for the kingdom, but he never seemed to sacrifice anything himself. Another time, when the church treasurer's back was turned, I caught him pocketing a thick envelope from the offering box. Father, shouldn't that be counted with the rest?" He froze, then smiled that politician smile.
"Daniel, sometimes pastors need special allowances. Don't question anointed authority."
The way he said it made my skin crawl. I thought maybe I was crazy, maybe judgmental. But then other signs piled up. His sermons became more about prosperity. Sow a seed, reap a harvest. And less about love, forgiveness, or humility. He guilt-tripped widows into emptying their purses. He mocked a young man who couldn't afford tithes, calling him spiritually lazy. And still, the congregation adored him. It wasn't just me who noticed, though. There was an elderly man in our church, Brother Samuel, who had been serving faithfully for 40 years. He was frail but sharp, and he wasn't afraid to speak truth. One Wednesday night, after Bible study, he stood up slowly, leaning on his cane.
"Father Raymond, I've been patient, but I can't be silent anymore. I've seen the accounts, money missing, luxury purchases. Our offerings are funding your lifestyle while families here starve. This isn't Christ-like."
The room went silent. My heart pounded. Someone finally said it. But Father Raymond's eyes turned cold, darker than I'd ever seen. He didn't rebuke Samuel openly. Instead, he smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder.
"Brother Samuel, you must be tired. Don't let the devil use you to sow division. Go home and rest."
Everyone clapped. They clapped for the wolf in shepherd's clothing. That night, Brother Samuel was attacked. He told me the next morning when I visited his home. His living room lamp was smashed, and his arm was wrapped in bandages.
"Daniel, he came here, mask over his face, but I know it was him. His voice, his build, his smell of expensive cologne. He had a knife. He said if I kept talking, I'd meet God sooner than expected."
Did you call the police?
I tried, but when I mentioned it at church, they told me to hush. Said we can't destroy the testimony of our ministry.
I felt sick. The church, our own family, wanted to cover it up. Protecting the pastor was more important than protecting the sheep. Weeks later, Another man, Brother Elijah, confided in me.
Daniel, he followed me home. Same mask. Tried to break in with a knife. I barely scared him off. I swear it's him. But when I told the deacons, they said, "Don't slander God's anointed."
The fear spread, but the silence was worse. Nobody wanted to believe their beloved pastor could be a monster. I started watching him closely. And then came the final straw. One night, while waiting for choir practice, I saw him stumbling drunk into the parking lot, clothes rumpled, smelling like cheap perfume. He was laughing with a buddy, bragging,
"Those girls last night, man, worth every dollar, and the fools in church will pay for next week too."
My fists clenched. This was no shepherd. This was a predator. But karma has a way of catching up, even to men who hide behind pulpits. It started small. A church member secretly recorded him at a strip club, tossing bills like confetti. The video leaked online. At first, his defenders claimed it was AI fake footage. But then more came. Pictures of him in designer suits on overseas trips, all funded by church money. Still, he denied everything.
The devil is attacking your pastor. These lies are meant to shake your faith.
Then strange things started happening. It all started with little things. Candles would topple over whenever he walked by. Bibles would slide off the shelves right when he opened the study door. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But then, things got weirder. One evening, I was finishing up cleaning the church late. Father Raymond walked in, all smug and ready to preach. The moment he stepped inside, the candelabra fell over with a loud crash. Books flew open like they had a mind of their own. He froze, eyes wide, muttering something under his breath. The next Sunday, he tried to preach, and suddenly the microphone cut out mid-sermon. He hit the buttons, cursed under his breath, and the mic came back. Then cut out again, just as he said, "And the Lord will..." The congregation was silent at first. Then snickers started. Then came the candle trick. Every time he tried to light one to read, it would sputter, go out, or fall over. One Sunday, he picked up the Bible, opened it, and his pants fell down right there in front of everyone. I swear, even the choir couldn't stop laughing. It was like the church itself was mocking him. Every sermon, every attempt to show off, something went wrong. The Bibles slid, the candles toppled. Even the microphones, which always worked perfectly before, seemed to have a vendetta against him. He tried to act serious, tried to regain authority, but the congregation couldn't help but laugh at the little disasters happening right before their eyes. It was embarrassing for him, hilarious for everyone else, and, honestly, a little satisfying for me.
What is happening?
I realized then that the universe, or God, was no longer letting him hide. Then came the more dramatic punishments. His expensive black BMW, the one he flaunted after every sermon, was found swept into the river one morning. No storm, no accident, just gone, as if the earth itself rejected him. He raged for days, yelling at the congregation,
"Someone is out to destroy me! This is Satan's work, I swear!"
But we knew better. Weeks later, lightning struck his luxurious property, the villa he bought with church funds. The roof burned, the walls cracked, the money he had stolen was incinerated in a fiery display that left the neighbors whispering.
Did the pastor build that with our offerings?
He tried to maintain control, tried to act like nothing had happened, but fear and paranoia consumed him. Despite the supernatural punishments, his arrogance persisted. He thought he was untouchable. When one brave parishioner threatened to expose him, he decided to silence her himself. Mask on, knife in hand, he broke into her home one night. What he didn't know was that her brother was visiting, a Marine who had returned from deployment in Afghanistan. Strong, disciplined, and unafraid. The moment the pastor stepped through the door, the brother grabbed him.
"What the hell do you think you're doing?"
They fought fiercely. The pastor swung the knife, but the brother disarmed him, pinned him to the floor, and tore off his mask.
That's Father Raymond, our pastor.
The brother laughed, shaking his head.
"Yeah, a pastor with a knife. Never seen that before."
The pastor tried to plead, but the brother tied him up securely and called the police. The woman stood trembling, her faith in the church shattered, but relieved her brother had saved her. The police took him into custody, and during his trial, all the supernatural events, His car, the villa, the moving candles and falling Bibles were mentioned in hushed tones by parishioners who had witnessed them.
In court, Raymond Matthews, your crimes against the church, your parishioners, and the law are clear. You are sentenced to 20 years in prison. May this serve as a warning to those who abuse their position of trust.
Even in prison, the karmic punishment continued. Fellow inmates, knowing he had attacked a parishioner, couldn't believe it. One day, a group cornered him.
So, you're a pastor, huh? Thought God would protect you?
They pushed him through a second-floor window. He landed hard, breaking his leg.
Ask your God to fix that one, holy man.
They humiliated him further, mocking every sin, sleeping with prostitutes, stealing from the congregation, attacking the innocent. He became a prisoner, not only of walls, but of ridicule and karma, broken physically, socially, and spiritually. I watched from a distance, knowing that justice, both human and divine, had been served. The church slowly healed. Brother Samuel returned to his quiet life, grateful for the intervention. Parishioners began to pray with genuine hearts again, rebuilding the community on truth rather than deception. I realized something important through it all. Faith is not blind obedience. True belief requires discernment, courage, and sometimes the strength to stand against those who wear the mask of holiness, but hide a heart of greed and violence. And as for Father Raymond, well, let's just say the universe has a way of ensuring that even men in fine suits and pulpits can't outrun their sins. Oh, and before I forget, if you're listening, remember, if your pastor ever comes at you with a knife, make sure your brother is a Marine. And don't forget to like this story, subscribe, and drop a comment. At least I'm not a masked pastor.